Hello, everyone. Hi. I know some of us identify as Hearties, so hello, Hearties, and some don't. Whatever. You're here because you're interested in the newest episode of season 12 of When Calls the Heart. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it's season 12, which is like wild, which is so cool. I'm glad you're all saying hello to each other. Hi. Hi, Jan. I saw Lisa. No, was it Lisa? I'm sorry. Someone up there was saying, um, greetings, Roxanne. You're a rock star for making time for this, the fireside chats, and the way home. I know it's like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Boom. So busy. It didn't feel that stressful this time around because I was coming off of holiday break, winter break, and I was still in winter break. And also, we had a snow day, and I even have a late start tomorrow. So I'm okay. We'll see how I feel next week. Tomorrow, I've got Kathy with me, which always we feed off of each other and gives us an energy. So thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I don't have a guest tonight. Um, I didn't even ask. I would just wanted us to talk and see what the vibe was and the feel for the very first episode. So Gladys is here and Arlene and Linda. If you're new here, say that. Let us, say hi. I'm new here. I would love that because I don't always remember everybody. Um, so help me out here since I always fly solo. I need some help. Look, I got my old shirt on, When Calls the Heart shirt, and I have my mug. It's my official mug. Um, I love your festivities. New word, Rox. Festivus. Oh, okay, gotcha. Hi, everyone. I just finished watching The Sweetest Heart and tomorrow morning, Snow Kissed. Yes. Um, okay, you're talking to each other. All right, so back to this. I have two different games. So one of the games I'm not going to explain now because I want everybody to pop in. I'll explain it later. One of them has to do with the character of Faith and Andrea Brooks and Arlene, who is a Hardy. And I'll explain that. Okay. And that's an opportunity. That's sort of like a long-term game through the entire season. And you get a really cool prize at the end of the season. And then, of course, I have my game for the day. So I am going to ask you a question, and it's so easy, this one. And I'm sure most of you will get the answer. And it's whoever I see first. Please don't say, oh, I got it first before that one. There's a little time delay, and I'm by myself. So whichever one my eye lands on first and it's correct, that will be who wins the prize. And they're just small little things. So I had a prize. I always do something tea related in our fireside chats because that's about Lucas Bichard. But you never know what I'm going to give you when we play the game from the series itself. All right, so let's get started. Now, listen, okay, these are my opinions and my observations, and you are allowed to weigh in. And you are allowed to disagree with what I have to say. That is perfectly fine. So here we go. I'm going to start off with just the writing itself. So it was written by Elizabeth Stewart, which she knows all about When Calls the Heart because she's been writing for a very long time. And it was directed by, oh, wait a minute, Mike, let's see. I have all my little notes. Mike, is it Rohl, Rohl? Is that how you say it? I think so. Now, I was saying to myself, when I first heard that, I didn't really remember his name. And I forget who had popped in our chat a couple, like about a week or two ago, and had said something like he had been around forever. And I was thinking to myself, why don't I know him? I never had the opportunity to meet him. And then I realized he really didn't direct that many episodes. He was like early on, and then he had a little break. And so I think there was 7 altogether and one Christmas special he did from 2019. So anyway, the two of them, working it together, directed this episode. And it was for an opening episode. I really liked it. I loved it. And I have to tell you that if I had never seen this show, and this was the first episode I laid my eyes on, and I'm saying this for a reason, I would have said, "Oh, I love this," and I would want to come back for more. Now, I know some people are going to go, "Are you crazy? Are you insane? Blah, blah, blah." This is me saying to you, if I had never seen it before, okay? I don't know the past history. It would make me want to go back to season one and watch it. So I have a really good friend who knows that I have an obsession with When Calls the Heart. And she is a very smart person. She is a psychologist, teaches psychology, and she also is a math teacher. So she's got that mathematical kind of like look at things from the, big picture analytical kind of mind. And she also teaches theater. So I thought, this is great. She decided to watch the first episode and she's going in blind. And her task was this. I wanted her, after one day of thinking about it, the next day, I wanted her to say to me, or explain to me what she thought of each of the characters. And she does. And I'm going to tell you that later on. She tells me what her first impression is just by watching that first episode. And there's a purpose and a reason for me asking all that. Let's see. I'm going to dive into the things that I really liked. Lisa saying, I just didn't like how they continued to focus on this medal and making Nathan look like he felt badly. I'm glad that they ended it with Nathan making a little place to put the medal. Lisa, I want to talk to you so much about that. So if we can hold on, I can't see I love sharing what people are saying. And if you're talking to each other, not a problem. I'll try to go back and scroll back to add the stuff. So let's talk about this. So one of the things that I have down is because I want to be all over the place. I have how I liked that the medal was an important part of this episode, and it kind of weaved through other conversations and other scenes. So I like that there was like a story behind the medal. It starts off where it was a little bit of a mystery, where they tried to get you, like, Jack, what do you mean it's about my late husband Jack? And you've got Hargraves, who was just a mean, grumpy old nasty man with cuts to Nathan, that he says very judgmental and judgy. And I love when Bill later on saw he was there, ran up, he goes, why is he here, with that face that he makes. So it was because of the medal, which was nice, and it kind of sparked like that whole thing with Nathan through the entire episode. I loved it, though. I loved how they incorporated it with little Jack and his feelings about it, and his relationship with Nathan, his feelings about it, and his relationship with his, dad, who he feels is still there. And I love that because so many of us can identify with that. I loved, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. I loved how it related also to Elizabeth's feelings, and then it even trickled down to little Lily and the feeling of courage and how they incorporated it in there. I don't know. I liked the whole thing. I really did. And especially for Nathan. So I'm going to talk about the character of Nathan. Nathan, when I first met him, was not my favorite character because he had a jerkiness about him. They wrote him that when he was sarcastic, he was kind of mean in his sarcasm, right? You could be sarcastic and not mean. That is not how they are writing Nathan now. The Nathan that we have right now in this season, in this episode, has a quietness about him and a calm and a bit of a sadness, but it's a sadness and a happiness together, because I think he's evaluating himself and what he's going to bring to this relationship with this woman that he has always been in love with since he met her. And now he has the responsibility of not just his daughter, this little guy. And also he has that weight of how some people think it is his fault that Jack died, which I never bought into that. I thought that was weird. So, of course, he didn't go to the training mission. And for whatever reasons, he didn't go it wasn't most honorable what he did. And Jack took his place, and then Jack winds up dying. To me, that is not his fault, but I can see where there would be like a feeling of sense of guilt for him. They wrote this for him and they directed it, and Kevin brought it. Such like gentleness. And even when he was sarcastic, and I'm going to show you, it was funny and it was soft and it was a good sarcasm. I love right here. Watch, this is just one example. And this is me clicking off of my TV. Here he is. He's having lunch or dinner, lunch slash dinner, whatever, with the new recruit, and they're having dinner. And Bill, of course, pulls up his own seat, and he's like, right before this, he's like, "Oh yeah, have a seat." Real soft, he says it, and it's kind of funny in Kevin's expression. And then the Mountie, the recruit, he goes and he's talking how enthusiastic he is about the book that Jack wrote. I'm going to call him Jack. I'm sorry, that Bill wrote many years ago. And Bill's like, "Geez, I didn't even know that was in circulation." And he's talking all about it. And Nathan, Kevin, says, he bring like the sarcasm has got a softness to it, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I think I kind of like skimmed the jacket or the cover." And then Bill looks at him with the side eye. So these are the kind of funny, like sarcastic little things that he would needle people with, but he had a meanness before, and it's not, he doesn't have a meanness now. I don't know if that's how they asked Kevin to play it. They wrote it to direct, but it makes you like him even more. So if you already were in love with this character, you're probably falling down. And those of you that maybe didn't really like him because of that little bit of a meanness behind him, it's kind of being erased. And I liked it. I really liked it. I thought that the scenes with little Jack, they were just amazing. And I loved the end with the box and the vulnerability he has. Like, he's not even going to show that box. And he made it for him to put that metal in. And when he sees how it's displayed, he almost like backs away a little bit. I thought this was great. I thought it was great. The meaningful conversation that he had and the gentleness about him when he was helping little Jack with the horse. I'm sorry, I keep feeling like I have to sneeze. I apologize. I loved it. I know I keep saying I loved it and I'm going cuckoo over it, but it was really beautiful. It was, I mean, those of you that have like the feelings that you have because of the whole storyline and how it was flipped, I get you. I have more to say. But when I'm standing back and looking at this for the art that it is, what the writers wrote for him, what the actor is bringing to the storyline, it's actually beautiful. They did a fantastic job. It reminds me of the beauty of when they did the scenes with Lucas and little Jack. All of that was just as beautiful. The beauty they had of him, with the cupcake and celebrating the birthday, and him reading to him and pulling him around in the wagon, and Lucas was always like took a step back and knew that he would be respectful of Jack's memory. They're doing the same with this character, and it's brought a softness to Kevin has brought a softness to his character of Nathan, and I love it. I think I have notes of all kinds of things, but I'm just winging it, saying it. But there's probably things I missed, and later on I'll be like, darn, I wanted to say this. How about the part where little Jack says he's a hero? I'm like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I don't know about that. And he is, because all Mounties are heroes. Like, just the simplicity of a child's mind. I just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Okay. I want to see what y'all had to say, because I went on and on and on and on. All right. Let's see. Didn't anyone find it strange that the metal was lost in a rock slide for years and still looked brand new, not dirty or dinged in any way? Well, Margie, you know what I was thinking? If it were, I would think that whoever found it and was presenting it to them, that they would try to polish it up and make it look as the best that it could. You know what I mean? And also, sometimes when something is like stuck between rocks or whatever, it is well preserved. You don't even realize how well preserved something can be. And it is TV, I guess. We got to give it like that license, that give it a pass. Let's see. Let's see right here. Susan said, I thought it was weird when he called little Jack kid. They knew better than to have him buddy like Lucas called him. Okay, that's true. They gave him his own words. They should have Nathan called Little Jack Sport or something. I don't know if that was a nickname in the 1920s, but I think it would be a good one. Well, kid is a term from back then. That's actually something my family would say, so I'm not offended by that. I don't I don't know, you know, like she's calling him Honey Bun now or Honey Bunches or something like that. She has a new name for him too. Um, Lillian says, Jack wouldn't have worn his medal on a training mission. You are correct, Lillian, but it could have been with his belongings. It could have been with his thing. They were there on a mission, a training mission. They were there for whatever amount of time. So I know. No, they don't wear all their medals on duty. It could have been a presentation and he was all dressed up for it. Who knows? They're just taking license with it, you know? Honey Bear. Thank you, Curry. I knew it was something like that. Thank you. Um, yes, I have to say this is so true. Hyland, he is maturing as an actor, and he was so good. He really was. Sandy says, Linda, when I was in the military, I never wore my medals or took them with me. Yes. Okay. Well, let's talk about this. There aren't any governors in Canada. So they're just, flying with that and rolling with it. That's what they're doing. But the point is, it's just that it's the medal and that this what it represented, bravery and that cute, like the big words and how they weaved it in through the whole storyline. It was something that they brought back that could maybe cause some angst between the two, but it really isn't true deep angst. It's more about them developing their relationship, and that is the avenue that they took. That is what they came up with. Sometimes we don't like what the writers come up with, but I mean, it worked for me. I thought what the real storyline is not so much the medal, but what it represented. And yes, thank you. Yes, the medal is a tool they use to tell the story. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to show this next thing here. Okay, so I'm going to take that down just to keep my space. So something else that these are the things that they started. Some people I know in here, I talked with them yesterday, felt like the story was all over the place. I didn't, because usually that first episode is like the beginning threads of stories that we're going to be seeing. It kind of like sets the stage. It's the exposition of the whole season. And the storylines, these are the storylines that I saw that were going to be pretty big, I think. And the one is the whole thing with Rosemary and her new news on the radio. So they're going to be very prominent with that radio. I also saw that another big storyline was going to be all the kiddos maturing. They've got 3. They've got Emily, and I loved how she said, for 11 years I've been teaching her. So that was cute because it's really a nod that character, or that actress rather, has been on since day one. So we've got Emily, Timmy, and why did her name just go over? Angela are going to be graduating, which is cool. They've got the 3 of them and they're showing them mature. I know that in one of their interviews they recently did, Chris's word for the season was puppy love. And I guess they're going to be showing some young love, which is nice. We see them growing up. And I love the whole comic book storyline. So they're bringing in some fun things that are going along there. So I'm glad that the young kiddos have got a storyline. Also, Lucas with Lee and the whole going to Capital City and that park that they're going to do, the national park. Then there's the whole thing about Rosemary and Lee and the angst that this might bring to their marriage, right? The other thing that they're going to be using, I think there's going to be more than just one puppy love story, but the stronger one is probably going to be the new, who I love this character for some reason. The new recruit, right? Oliver, is that what it is? Yes, Oliver Garrett. And Allie, I think, oh, this is going to be interesting. And for reason, there's something soulful about that character. And the actor he's adorable. I just love him. That would be my dream if I can have him on. I think I just saw that he was on Suspenders Unbuttoned, but that was like, oh, I would just love to have him on. Jacob, what is it? His name just went right out of my head. I wrote it somewhere. He's a doll. He's like one of my that storyline is like one of my favorites. And then the other thing that looks like it's going to be a storyline that we didn't see too much of it, but I think we're going to see how Faith navigates being a mama. Okay. So speaking of Faith and Andrea right here, let's talk about the game that's going to go with her for her. She was pregnant, and this is Arlene who thought this up. She was pregnant. Andrea was pregnant through the entire season, and there's all the different ways that she hid her pregnancy. So for each episode, you're to be on the lookout for all the scenes she was in and how many different times they had to hide her pregnancy. And they do it with various things. They do it with a vest. They do it with her black bag. They do it with a child, a file, a coat, whatever. They come up, a filing cabinet, even whatever. So how many times did they have to do it in a scene? Whoever wins, you get a letter. Like for today, whoever wins, you get an A. And the next time we do it, you get an N, and you spell it Andrea Brooks because there's 12 letters. Whoever has the most, and we'll keep track. At the end gets a really nice prize. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is nice. And I will tell you this. Linda got the attention of Andrea, and she's like, let's do this. So we're going to do it for her. Okay. All right. So let's see what you have to say, because I want to talk about a few more things that I liked, and then I want to talk about what I didn't like. But I'm not going to end on what I didn't like. I'm going to sandwich that in the middle. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, I agree, Jan. I think the new character has something sad in his background. I agree. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Let's see. Let's go up here. Okay, you're talking about the badges, so I didn't miss anything. Here's Teresa. Nathan's concern about having to tell little Jack truth later was a recurring theme. Nathan mentioned it several times, a red herring. Yes, I agree. It is something. It is something I think that they're going to work with through the whole season, but I love how they handled it in this first episode. Wish we could have seen more of wish show would have let LJ and Lucas continue some kind of a friendship. That's nice, but I don't think they would write it in because there's so much they have to write in. But if they saw each other in passing, hey Luke, hi Lucas, how, things like that, I get it. But they have so much stuff that they're telling that writing those kinds of scenes, probably there's just not enough time, So okay, now I talked about one of the scenes that I loved, which I thought was funny, was I love the chemistry between the two actors and the two characters of Henry and Joseph. They're just so cute. And there they are out in the field playing a game of chess, and just the reaction of, how Henry won, and their interaction, what they see, and they're drinking their lemonade and they drink it down at the end like it's a shot or a cocktail in a field. And he's like, I'll help you out with your bumper crop. They're just so cute. And I'm looking forward to more of them. I'm also really interested in Angela's story. There's like a hint of her getting to visit Emily's aunt, going into the city. By the way, is that where Emily's whole family went? Because Emily's an orphan. Okay. We don't see her brothers and we don't see her mother. All right. But we don't talk about that. Shh. That's not talked about. So anyway, they go and maybe check it out. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Little House on the Prairie when she went to the school for the blind and fell in love. Remember? I don't know. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Now, where are Mike and May on their honeymoon? They need to come back. I need to see their interaction. I cannot wait. And like I said, I am so excited with this new recruit. I just love him. I love how he was with the dog. I just think there's a really good storyline there. Okay. There are only certain characters that haven't spoken against Lucas. It would be better if there was more supporters. I don't see Elizabeth. Okay. So This, when I talk on Sunday, that's when we focus all on Lucas. This is for the whole, the whole cast. What's Brianna saying? This is cute. What's it say? The lemonade tea party was so adorable. It was. It was. It was. It was. Let's see. I'm worried what they're doing to Rosemary's character. I get she's sometimes over the top, but she came off as really mean and condescending in this episode. That's going to fall under the things that annoyed me or disappointed me. So here we go. First of all, let me just say, here's my storyline here. Kevin McGarry, if you're out there and you hear this, you brought it. Thank you. You did an excellent job of softening and making people fall in love with your character. I loved it. Good job for you. All right, now let's go on. What I didn't like. There's quite a bit, okay? One of the things that I didn't like is I love Rosemary. I like a spicy woman. I like a sassy woman. I like a go-getter. And I don't mind that she's so because I'm kind of like that too. But I have to say that, ew, she was an ick and an ooh for me. From the moment, now here's something I felt ironic. Okay, I thought ironic. If Chris wasn't in the scene, he didn't really have much dialogue, okay? If he wasn't in the scene, they were talking about him, not for all of them, but like when Henry is with Joseph, they mention Lucas. When Elizabeth is talking in the very beginning with Rosemary, they're talking about Lucas. When you see Rosemary having her conversation with Lee, she's talking about Lucas. When you see even Nathan talking about Rosemary, they mention Lucas. So Lucas is brought up quite a bit, and then we see him. But they talked about him more than him actually having lines, which I thought was wild. And if they did it that way to hope his fans would be okay with it, they're not getting it. It's backfiring. So we've got, as soon as we have some dialogue going on after that whole Hargraves thing, we've got Elizabeth walking with Rosemary. And as they're walking, I had to write down some of this stuff. Okay. The things that they were saying, like, oh no, I know how persuasive he can be. Oh yes, I know. And they give each other a look. And then there's this, Lucas needs Lee to be the face of the park because, okay, this is this conversation that she has right there and says Lucas needs to Lee to be the face of the park because his own face has been dragged across every front page due to his unfortunate association with the criminal mastermind Jeanette Aucoin. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, Rosemary, you got, Pascal, those were some lines. Now, while all this is being said, she even says more mean stuff to him. Watch this. Look at how the actors' faces are. This is her while she's telling him this. And this is Lee while they're all saying this. This is him in a booth, sandwiched in with Henry and them, and they're just beating him up. And I'm thinking, really? Ew. And then they go to this, look at his face. Chris doesn't even need to say words. Just look at his face. This is how they're speaking to him. And I was like, she is such a mean, mean, mean girl. What a mean girl she is here. Okay. Let's see. Down here, what y'all have to say about this. Yes, she needs to take a seat. She really does need to take a seat. She does. And what I also don't like is how shallow they made her, that she could be bribed by naming a park after her daughter. First of all, usually a park is named after somebody because they've, passed away, like a memorial, or because they've done some major whatever for the town. The little girl's what, a year old? It's weird. I just thought that was a weird thing to do, to bribe her. So they've got Lucas who bribes, who's associated with criminals. How about when she goes and has the conversation with Lee and says stuff like, oh, wait, she said more to him. Hold on. That's right. In that conversation with their ugly faces, you can't expect us to sacrifice our family life to revitalize your political fortunes. I'm like, what? And then he says, I admit I could use a win right now. That's his response. Please give me some credit, he says to her after a while. I'm like, and afterwards he says his little spiel, and she's like, well, I believe you. And Lee's like, well, yeah, I guess I believe you too. Why is he's a liar? He is after his own political aspirations. He really, do you remember when Rosemary had the chicken pox and nearly died and needed ice? Who was there driving out, telling the townspeople to be careful, brought the ice to her? Do you remember when Rosemary overplayed her hand and was having the governor come, and who brought down all, the governor and this big party, and all of a sudden now he had to stop to help out? I mean, there's a lot that like they rewrote. They just this is like a whole new character, and it is not helping people who are Lucas fans. And she's like, we forgave him when she's talking to him. We just forgave him for what? What did he do last season? I'm not quite sure. Forgave him, and he's still a wild card. That means you didn't forgive him. And I thought this was about Christian values. So I could spend hours on the writing of his character. Here's what I have to say. Chris might be enjoying playing this character, but I don't know, and I want to hear from you. I do not think that Lucas fans are enjoying his storyline, and I don't like it. I actually am going to use this word. I loathe it. I loathe it. So if I was coming in to this show and I was watching it for the first time from that episode, I wouldn't like his character. I would not. And he's not the same. And I wouldn't like Rosemary either. And Elizabeth, she was a little dramatic. Jan says, yes, the bribe was weird, but even more so that she was that shallow to accept it. Yes. Chelsea, I always considered Elizabeth and Nathan have narcissistic traits in season 10 and some in 11, and I still don't like those two. Okay. Last season, she called Lucas her dear friend. Yeah, but now he's bad and did bad stuff. I don't know what. I'm not sure. These people forget certain things. Lucas is the one who sacrificed himself for Hope Valley. Yes. So I'm like, did they forget what they wrote just two seasons ago? Instead of it getting better, I thought it was going to be better. It's bad. It's bad. Okay. All right. I actually liked when Edwin just happened to be on the same train that Lucas and Lee were on. Yeah. And Edie just happens to be on that train too. Yeah. She's going to be on it too. We get to see her next week. I don't know why everyone is so down on Lucas. That's what I was wondering about. Why? I'm not enjoying this storyline at all. Negative. It was weird. Okay. And here's the thing that it annoyed me as a writer. This annoyed me. Okay, when you want to build conflict, it shouldn't be like the same thing over and over and over. Okay, so last season, the whole storyline for Lucas was, I need investors for this land. And this episode, it didn't work. I need these investors. Oh, and that didn't work. And I need these investors, and that didn't work. That's all that it was about. In the end, they don't even do the resort. Okay. Now it was in this episode, I need Lee to go with me. I need Lee to go with me. I'll try this. I'll try that. I'll try this. I'll try that. And only time we saw him, that's all he was saying. Even up to the end, where they had him dishonest to the end when they're saying their farewell and their goodbyes on the, and he gets into the car to drive away, and Elizabeth's standing there, and poor Lucas is waving to everybody. No one said a word to him. They're all saying everything to Lee, which I thought was weird. And right away she says, already you're going back on your promises. That's what I'm like, geez, Louise, Mama Bear claws are out. No, I'm a mean girl. You know what? Begins with a B is what she was. And that's I love her. I love Rosemary. And I don't like her right now. He is the one who should be looked up to. No, I don't like the storyline and don't like the stories for these reasons. This Lucas fan is not liking it. Me neither. It is very uncomfortable. I agree with you. I loathe it also. Well, If Chris sees himself like Lucas, I can't imagine him liking the change. I know. I know. Yes, I don't like it either. Even Lee with his facial expressions, exactly, Roxanne, agree that if you were just coming in, you would not like this yes, you're right. So I want to talk to you and tell you what my friend said. I said, "What did you think of Rosemary?" She was the woman with the longer hair and she has the newspaper and all. And she said, "Oh, I want to say she used the word twit, but she thought of her as excitable and ridiculous. Like she wanted her to stop with her talking." And I said, "What about Elizabeth?" She said, "Well, she's very dramatic. She didn't have high praise for her." And I said to her, "And what did you think of Lucas?" And she said, "Well, out of all of the characters, he's very serious. No one else seemed to be serious like he was, and like dark. He had like a dark side to him and serious." And I said, and I didn't get to say anything else. And she goes, "But I will tell you who I love. I love the Mountie. And she loved his interaction with, little Jack and whatnot." And I said, "Exactly. So the writers did their job because that's what they wanted, especially when it came for people who might be new to the show, is to see those like Lucas and Nathan in different light than if we've been there all this time, which is kind of a little bit of a smack." Now, that scene where they're jammed in that booth and Henry is there and Lee and Rosemary are making their faces, and then Henry even said, yeah, like when um Pascal, when Rosemary accused him of doing this so you bribe and get me to change my mind and get Lee to go there, and Lucas didn't even have a chance to deny it because Henry's like, yeah, and he's like, of course I can't deny it, it's the truth. But he says it and he kind of laughs, and there's this funny cartoon music in the background, so I think this was supposed to be a funny lighthearted scene. It did not come off that way. It came off as mean. They were mean and jerks, and Lucas was a very self-centered, like self-serving jerk too. So I was like, yeah, we got a whole new hot mess coming from this now. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it. Who approves the final script, the showrunner or BB? Um, they Brian Bird is not the only person. If you look at it, there's a whole list. If I read it to you, some of the big, Peter DeLuise is up there in as one of the producers. Like, producers take care of different things, though. I have to say that everybody's got a different thing, but the people that had their hands in this are people that have been around for a long time. So they decide as a team what direction this is going on, whoever the big wigs are, like Brian Bird, and they have a showrunner and they sit down and they put it all together. The point is this: they're going. Some people got to get this. Some people are like, I wish I saw LJ with Lucas. You're not, because that would confuse fans. People would take it as a nugget, an Easter egg. There's going to be more. No. And they got so much to write, they're not going to see it. You're going to see more of Nathan with them becoming a family. I mean, there was a few minutes with Allie and Elizabeth, and it was cringy to me. I didn't like how they wrote it. Those two were exceptional actresses, and it was just weird. I mean, I know that they were supposed to feel weird, but that's not why I was cringing. I was cringing because it just thought it didn't make sense how they did it. They could have done a better job of that. I didn't like that scene at all. But they're a family unit trying to figure themselves out. And that's what we're going to see more of. That's it. End of story. That's what's happening. But when it comes to what's going on with like Lucas, you could be wide open. You could give him anything. Henry, wide open. You could give him anything. Even what's going to happen with the Canfields, wide open. All, but instead it's like for Lucas, it's just going backwards. I don't know what's happening with anybody else either yet, so we'll see. Oh, I really believe that Lucas must continue to be oh, okay, I've already heard about that, to justify the relationship between Nathan and Elizabeth. I guess so, but I don't know. Really, because are we that like dumb as a viewer? I'm insulted by that. I'm insulted. This is the way you want it to go. You want them to be a couple. Okay, now let's move on. We don't need to make, here's the thing, they don't really have a villain in the town. And I don't think that they need to have a villain in the town because there'll be guest people that coming out that cause villainous type of things anyway. I feel like that they can have care like Rosemary is a brat. She like wants her way and we get that. So but we accept that because nobody is perfect and angel like and or angelic. So I get that. So that's like the villain you could put in there. And Jack, I keep saying Jack, Bill sometimes I remember he took a drink once and he took back the nickel or whatever it costs. He does things that aren't always most ethical, but in the end he is still a good guy. It's funny kind of stuff. You could still do that even with the character of Lucas. When you have fans that have invested their time and their love in a show and you just trash that character, what does that say? Like, I don't know. I don't know what that says. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. Whatever. It really, and they're trashing up Rosemary. She has not been that mean since we first met her when she was really mean to Elizabeth and even lied about stuff. So they're portraying Nathan more like Lucas and Lucas more like early on Henry. Yes, Arlene, you are correct. Whole new show for sure. So either you want to watch it with its new storyline, so up the viewers it's up to the viewers to continue or move on. Yep. They are going to have a lot more hate for changing Lucas. Yes, that's why Nathan is dressing more like Lucas. Nathan doesn't dress like Lucas. I just think we see him in more casual wear. He doesn't wear suits and things like that. I don't know. Oh my, I didn't notice that. My dislike for that man is extreme. I'm glad we got to see new promo pictures of Lucas today in his hat. You know what? I got a funny story about that, Avis. Here's my funny story. That press packets were, they were 1 and 2 and 3 had been out for a while, and then 4 recently. And I get them and I look through them. And I had just looked through them yesterday because I was looking for something. And then this morning I went back in to look for something totally different. And I went systematically. I started with press packet 1 for episode 1 and went through all the photos systematically looking for something. Got on to 2 systematically, got on to 3 systematically. And towards the end, not the very end, smack dab, I'm like, what's this? 3 photos that were new. And those are the 3 that I put out and I showed. And I thought, oh, wow, wonder why now suddenly they're in there. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Okay. To me, it says that Lucas fans are disposable, which is sad. I don't know. Like I said, that one scene, I feel like sometimes the mark is missed. That one scene where they're all jammed into that booth and Rosemary's saying what she says, and Lee and Rosemary are making their faces, and Lucas has got this look, and Henry says what he says, and then they play that cartoon music in the background like a wah wah. I didn't think it was funny. I don't know. I don't know. I know. Do you think that they don't know what to do with Lucas now that he isn't the main romantic lead? I don't know. They have this storyline for him. That's fine, but they don't have to. He wasn't always the most romantic. He wasn't always the big romantic lead. That's not what his part always was. That came little at a time. Just like the Mountie, it came a little over time. Well, that's a shame because I can think of 1,001 storylines that they could write. I really could. So I don't think that. I just think the way they went overboard. They went too far the other way in with his background, and he's just so different than, what we know him to be. So it's a hard pill for some of us to swallow that pay attention to the details over time, I'm going to move on in a minute. I'm going to ask a question while I cover some other things. So, how many scenes? This is a little tricky, but I'm going to call them scenes because each time it's a scene, they have to figure out how to hide Andrea's baby bump. So, how many scenes did they have to cover Andrea's baby bump in this episode? And they were clever with it. They did it with her kneeling down. They did it with her with the angle of the camera. They even did it with the body of little Jack when he ran up to her. And they even did it with like her black bag purse and the vest that she had on. How many scenes? And I didn't ask, I was going to check in with Arlene to see what she thought, but we're just going to go with my version for today. And then I have a question for you all. This is your question where you can win a prize. The new Mountie, I mean, not their new recruit, Oliver. He's a cutie. He fell in love with something from Minnie's Cafe. It was something that she makes. And he became like, he even took extras home to have while he's living inside the jail. What was it that he fell in love with from Minnie's Cafe? I think I'm going to have to do that recipe for next week. All right. Let's see who got it first. I don't know. Well, first, no, it's not who got it first. First, I have to lay my eyes on. I'm going to go with how many scenes. All right. Cindy Smith. You said 3, and it was 3 for Faith. Now, I got to be careful with this. I always have to go back sometimes and look. So we've got Cindy Smith. All right, Cindy, you won the A for Andrea. And what was it that he fell in love with from her thing? Sonia Santiago. I'm just looking to see which one. I'm not saying you are the first. You're the first I see. Sonia. If you would like a prize, if you want a prize, you have to message me on Facebook or email me, and you have to give me your address because I send it through Amazon. But you are the winner of tonight's question for the little trivia game, which is meatloaf. Yes, he loved her meatloaf. Yes, yes, yes. I would like some pot roast, that's for sure. All right, let me go over here and then we're going to wrap it up. All right, Lisa, it seems like they made all the women kind of antagonistic in the episode, even Florence with her faces about the comic books. Yep. And Elizabeth was weird and Rosie females were off-putting. You know what else? I don't know, her whole character was a little weird. When Luke, I'm going to end with a happy note. When Nathan comes in at the end of the evening and he has with him that box and he's asking questions, and right away Elizabeth is saying something like, what is she saying? She's got to face Nathan. I don't, I want him to be important in little Jack's life, as if Nathan was saying he didn't want it. And he's like, he was sort of like a little shocked, and he's like, no, I'm not trying to replace him. I understand. And she's like, oh, I'm like, really? It was just like, I don't know, off-putting. I didn't like even that part of what she did. I don't know. She was off-putting to me. That might have just been the mood I was in. It seems like they may, oh yeah, I said that already. Oh, off-putting. I wonder if the picture showed up because no, so many posted on X, where's Lucas, and the hashtag numbers. Avis, they were all over Instagram. Let's talk about Instagram. This is something I'm going to voice since people listen. Apparently, they pop on my podcast. Erin posted a fun little thing, right? And I posted underneath. I also put, like, she asked a question of who you like to sit with, and I said I'd sit with like anybody at that table. But I also put, where's Lucas? That was it, because it was like our funny Waldo, where's Waldo thing. And I have to tell you that the people, and then there were other people, you people that are here, wrote things that were a little more detailed, okay? And people were commenting to me, the things that they said were crazy. Some were trying to give me advice on how to have people on a show. And I thought, why do they think this? Like, none of that was even true, what they were saying. And I'm thinking, why are you like coming for me when there was meaner comments? All I was trying to say was, we miss his face. We want to see his face. And good Lord. I know that was interesting. I'm like, okay, thank you. All right. There's all your meatloaf people. Sharon, we're here. It's been a long time. Are you still watching? Sharon, you're here. It's been a long time. Are you still watching? Did anyone get all the squares on your bingo game from a novel Noel? Yeah, I didn't hear about that. I told you I did that with my family, right? My friends. We did it, a digital one. I don't know. Nope. Nope. I don't know. I looked, we just did it as a running fun thing on the Chris McNally fan page. All right, I'm going to end with this. Look at this. Look at this future. Look at these three babies sitting in that front row. They were the cutest things, the three of them. They really, really were. Even that little cutie patootie in the middle is, and I forget what her name is. I know it and I forgot they posted it. And how she reacted when they clapped for a little Jack and her little face. Oh my God. They're just the sweetest. And then there he is. There he is. I am so looking forward to this storyline. The first one is when he first, meets, um, like comes in and barges in on Elizabeth and Nathan, and they're having their conversation. And then here when he's looking at Allie, I'm like, oh, he's cute. I'm looking forward to this really cute little storyline. And that is what I'm going to leave with that. The possibilities of cuteness. Yes, for the future. She is adorable. Is it Leia? I don't know. I forget. I'm also, yes, he is. Cooper is getting very tall. Yep. Strong work, Roxanne, as always. Talia. Thank you, Carrie. I knew it was something like that because it's beautiful, right? That's her name, Talia. What a cutie. They are three adorable cutie patoots. All right, boys and girls, men and women, they and them, whoever's out there listening, thank you for tuning in. It's almost been 1 hour. I need the medal for what you put up with. Thank you, Sandy. I mean, that you put yourself out there. I mean, there could be worse things. It's very rare does negative things come my way out on social media, which I am thankful for. But I laugh when it does because sometimes it's so far off the mark. And I know people, there was somebody who was being meaningful mentioning who I should get in touch with for tips to have people come on the show. And I was laughing thinking, uh, I'm good. Like I'm good. But that was sweet. All right. Thank you. And I will see some of you tomorrow with Kathy when we talk about the way home. What an episode. My gosh. And then, of course, the next time, if you're Lucas Peeps, we're going to have a lot to talk about, I think, in the next episode. So that'll be Sunday night and then Monday night for episode 2. All right. Nice to be back. All righty. Thank you. Good night. If you're in a snowstorm, stay warm. Bye.